What would you do if the person you humiliated turned out to own everything you have? Imagine laughing at someone, throwing them out like garbage, recording their shame for the world to see, only to discover the next morning that they control your entire future. This isn't just a story about revenge. It's about the moment when arrogance meets its reckoning. The glass doors of Sterling and Vale didn't welcome people, they sorted them. This wasn't just any boutique. It was a fortress of judgment disguised as luxury. Chandeliers hung from the ceiling like frozen waterfalls. Display cases gleamed under lights that cost more than most people's rent. Every mannequin stood in a pose that whispered, "You don't belong here." Marcus Bennett walked through those doors wearing jeans and a plain jacket. Clean, presentable, but nothing that screamed money. No logo plastered across his chest. No watch flashing from his wrist. Just a quiet confidence that people with real power carry naturally, the kind that never needs to announce itself. But in a place like Sterling and Vale, quiet confidence looked like weakness. A saleswoman named Tiffany spotted him immediately. Her eyes narrowed. She leaned toward a colleague and whispered just loud enough for half the store to hear, "Lost? Broke? Definitely in the wrong neighborhood." Laughter rippled through the aisles. Marcus didn't flinch. He walked calmly toward a display of luxury timepieces, drawn to the artistry, the precision, the way something so small could hold so much value. Then a hand cracked across his wrist like a whip. The store owner, Vincent Cross, stood inches from Marcus's face, his expression twisted with disgust. "Don't touch what you can't afford," Vincent hissed. "These aren't for people like you." Marcus kept his voice steady. "I'd like to take a closer look at that one." Vincent erupted into cruel laughter. "Did you hear that? He wants a closer look. What's next? You gonna ask if we take food stamps?" The crowd joined in. Phones came out. Video rolled. Perhaps that was the moment Vincent could have paused and reconsidered, but arrogance rarely thinks ahead. "Why are you even in here?" Vincent demanded, his voice rising. "Looking for something to pocket?" Security guards were already closing in, circling Marcus like predators who'd spotted wounded prey. Marcus remained composed. "I'm interested in your business. That's all." Vincent threw his head back and laughed harder. "Oh, he's interested in our business. Boys, get this clown out of here before he embarrasses himself any further." A guard grabbed Marcus by the arm. Marcus locked eyes with Vincent. "You're making a serious mistake." Vincent's smirk grew wider. "No, the mistake is you thinking you belong anywhere near this place." He kicked the door open with theatrical flair and gestured for the guard to toss Marcus onto the sidewalk. Cameras kept recording. Humiliation preserved forever. If only Vincent had known what dawn would bring. The next morning, 20 floors above the city, Marcus stepped into a boardroom that commanded silence. A massive screen displayed his name in bold letters. Marcus Bennett, majority shareholder, Apex Capital Group, owner of Sterling and Vale luxury retail chain. Executives stood at attention, their faces tight with nervous anticipation. A woman in a charcoal suit spoke carefully. "Sir, we've reviewed all the footage from yesterday's incident. It's devastating." Marcus took his seat at the head of the long table. His voice was calm, almost quiet, but it carried the weight of absolute authority. "It's time to clean house," he said simply. 1 hour later, every single employee at Sterling and Vale was called to the sales floor. Confusion spread like wildfire. Fear crept into whispers. This time no cameras were allowed. The doors opened. Marcus Bennett walked in. The same staff who'd mocked him 24 hours earlier went completely white. The oxygen seemed to vanish from the room. Vincent Cross stumbled forward, a fake smile trembling on his lips. "Sir, welcome to Sterling and Vale." "We are deeply honored." Marcus raised one hand. Total silence. "Yesterday," he began, his voice cutting through the air like a blade, "you showed me exactly who you are when you thought no one important was watching." Vincent's voice cracked. I misunderstood the situation." "You didn't misunderstand anything," Marcus corrected. "You judged me. You humiliated me. You taught everyone here that cruelty is your brand." Tiffany stared at the floor, her face drained of all color. Marcus turned to address the gathered employees and the few customers present. "This store prides itself on luxury. But what is luxury without humanity? What is wealth without basic human respect?" No one dared to breathe. He faced Vincent again. "You treated a black man with contempt because you assumed he had nothing." Vincent tried desperately to recover. We treat all guests equally, I assure you." Marcus cut him off with surgical precision. "Security. Remove him." The exact same words Vincent had used yesterday. delivered with absolute, undeniable power. Security approached their former boss. Vincent dropped to his knees. "Please? This store is my entire life." Marcus leaned down, his eyes unblinking. "And yesterday you decided you had the right to destroy mine." Security dragged Vincent through the same door he'd kicked open in triumph just one day before. Gasps echoed through the room. Employees looked at Marcus like they were witnessing a force of nature. Marcus turned to address everyone. "This store is now under reconstruction. Not the building, the culture." He pointed directly at Tiffany. "You laughed the loudest. You recorded someone's humiliation like it was entertainment." He paused. "You're fired." Tears erupted. She collapsed, begging for mercy. Marcus didn't look back. He approached a young employee who'd nervously whispered, "Maybe we shouldn't do this," before being silenced by the others. "What's your name?" Marcus asked. "Jordan," the young man whispered, stunned. "You're now the store manager," Marcus declared. "Because you showed humanity when everyone else chose arrogance." Applause erupted, genuine, not forced. Marcus stepped onto a raised platform like a leader addressing a nation. "This chain will no longer operate on elitism. No more profiling. No more cruelty. Luxury begins with dignity." He locked eyes with every person in that room. "If you can't treat every human being with respect, there is no place for you here, or anywhere in my company." The shift was palpable. Power earned, not inherited. Undeniable. Absolute. Marcus walked toward the exit, leaving a storm of transformation in his wake. As he reached the door, he looked back one final time. "When you see a stranger, remember, you might be looking at your boss." He walked out. The man they threw away. This story isn't just about one man's comeback. It's about a truth we all need to remember. Never judge someone by their appearance. Never assume you know someone's worth by their clothes, their car, or the neighborhood they come from. Because the person you disrespect today might control your tomorrow. Treat everyone with dignity, not because you're afraid of consequences but because it's the right thing to do. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Let's build a world where respect isn't earned, it's given freely. See you in the next one.